Here's one of my favorite spots in New York City. I call it the Rock. I'm not sure what it's really called. It's an indigenous rock that was here long before this place called Manhattan was formed by man. This was way before man. And it's up in Riverside Park in the 80s in Manhattan. And if I go around here, you can see how it's up on a plateau. And you can see other parts. That's where kids can play down their little park. And over here is the West Side Highway. You can see cars going by. Anyways, as you can see right here, they have some nice green grass. Now, I wanted to just mention something about the grass because we are playing Wimbledon right now. This grass, I'm going to put my foot in there. Look at that. It's slippery because it's wet. It's also very long. I don't know the millimeters, but I'm, a lot longer than Wimbledon's grass. And the base is soft. If you go down in here and look, you can see the brown. It's a very much a silty base, soft. And so this kind of grass, you're not going to slip that bad. It's really wet, so you're going to slip some. Now, we go over here to the Rock. And this is where I was just coming down from about 2 minutes ago and almost slipped and hurt myself. It's so slippery, and I have some sandals on, but you have to be very careful. Now, why is this so slippery? Because it's very hard. It's that simple. It's a very hard material. Harder than the Wimbledon grass courts, of course, but the Wimbledon grass courts are a lot harder than that grass. The base, the soil, because of the high percentage of clay they have in them. So I'm going to try to speak over this helicopter that's coming by. Lovely New York City helicopter. But my point being made is that you try to get on this rock and it's so slippery, you have to be very careful just walking up on it. And that's the reason you're seeing such slipperiness at Wimbledon this past week. It's not just that the grass is wetter than it should be, but any little bit of moisture, it's just a little bit. It's because of the wet, cold season they had. But that little bit, because their base is so tightly compacted with clay, and that base, by the way, played a little softer this year because it was so wet, but it's still a harder base than normal, harder than the base you're looking at right now, the soil base here in the park. And the grass is cut low, and if it's just a little bit wet, it can really slip. You saw players slipping. Why did it seem like Wednesday was the worst day of all? My theory on that, and who knows, I'm speculating, but my theory is that the base hardened up a bit with some playing on it, and maybe the weather got a little warmer. I'm not sure about that, but the base probably got a little harder with some playing, and getting a little harder, not as hard as these rocks right here, but hard enough that the worst day was for this slipping was on Wednesday. After that, it probably was tearing enough, there was enough dead grass and some tearing up of the grass, and, maybe the base was even getting harder, and probably that prevented further catastrophes like we had on Wednesday. We don't want to see any injuries, but it was certainly fun to see some real grass tennis for the first time in years. And I expect to see some more this week. This will play more like the second week of Wimbledon used to play. Closer. We still have really slow balls, but that's okay. We also have very powerful rackets, so the balls need to be slower. And I'm just going to finish out by trying to make my way up this rock without slipping and falling again. I didn't fall last time, it was a close call. I made it. And there we are. There's Riverside Drive, trees, the buildings in New York City. Everybody will be gathering here in a month and a half or so for the US Open. Not actually on this rock, but in this city. And actually not in this city, in Queens, but close enough, you get my point.